10 Most Amazing Investments to Make. Most people are always looking for ways to make more money and live the high life. One great way to do just that is to invest some of your current savings into the right investments. For many people who don't work in the financial sector though, it can seem a real minefield. With constant distractions on the global economy, choosing the right investment to make some money can seem hard. Luckily, with a bit of the right knowledge, it needn't be. Here are 10 of the most amazing investments you can make right now. 10. Fine art. This one may seem a little left field if you have no interest or knowledge of art, but stick with it. The key to making your money work best for you though is having a diverse portfolio, often with things that you may not be an expert in. Of course, you need to have a broad knowledge of how it works, but you don't need to have an in-depth knowledge to succeed. Find out who the best artists to invest in are and buy a piece that you can afford by one of them. Although it may take a few years of holding the painting, when you come to sell, it should have gone up in price, thus netting you a nice profit. It is thought that currently investors can see a 4% return on their initial outlay over a 5 to 10 year period. 9. Emerging market bonds. There was once a time when investing in bonds in emerging markets like Brazil looked risky. This has changed in recent years though, and 2017 saw a brilliant year for investors in this niche. 2018 looks set to continue in this vein, making it a very handy investment tool to consider. The reason is simple: the high risk associated with emerging markets has come down a lot while growth in more developed markets has slowed. The bonds in emerging markets are still cheap though, which means lots of potential to take advantage of the high yields they have been producing recently. 8. Commercial investments. Some may doubt whether this investment is still worthwhile in 2018 with changes to many regulations globally. It still makes a sound investment though, and one that it would be foolish to dismiss. The appeal here is simple: when you buy a commercial property to rent out, then you are getting generally higher yields than investing in residential property to let. Commercial letting also generally is more stable, with most tenants signing up for longer periods as they don't want to move their business around. 7. High return investment funds. Most banks will give you a really bad interest rate on your savings account. This is not a wise investment as it sees very low returns over the years. Instead, why not consider a high return investment fund instead? These funds give a much higher annual interest rate to investors, and so will see you make more ROI each year if you put your money into them. Rates of 5% or more are common, but shop around to get the best ones. 6. Fixed rate bond investment. This investment opportunity may not be as glamorous as others out there, but it does give a good annual yield. Returns as high as 8% are quite normal when an investment of around £5,000 is made. The great thing about this investment is that it gives much better interest rate than you would get from a normal high street bank savings account. This means your money works much harder for you and will see you net more profit in the long term. The other great thing about this investment is that you are protected from any interest rate changes by central banks. 5. Classic cars. An enduringly popular investment asset is that of classic cars. Classic car collecting groups have sprung up now as this asset class gains ground. The appeal is clear: over the last 10 years, classic car investment has seen a 300% increase on initial capital outlays. If you want to make it easy, then joining a classic car investment fund will take the hard work out of it for you. Alternatively, if you know your motors, then you could always find one of your own to buy and then sell on for a profit at the right time. 4. Property. Bricks and mortar. This was at one time the investment most people would think about making. All those reasons it was so popular previously are still applicable today. Although all property markets go through ups and downs, a decent property in a good area will always see a good return on your money eventually. Of course, if you would like to invest without having to actually buy the property yourself, then you could look at property leases or bonds. Just remember that the best time to buy is often in a market slump. This will see you bag property for bargain prices, which will then give handsome ROI within a few years' time. 3. Stocks and shares. As with property, stocks and shares has been a perennial favorite of investors for years. The idea is simple: you buy stocks or shares in a publicly listed company on the stock exchange and then hopefully sell at a higher price than you paid. Many investors now will stick to the trusted blue-chip companies in this area after being burned in the last serious financial crash. Although this does impact on the potential return, it keeps your money safe and almost guarantees a steady return over the years. 2. Jewelry. They say diamonds are a girl's best friend. Well, this is true for investors too. In truth, the whole jewelry sector is flourishing and is consistently a good one to place your money in. Whether it is a flash diamond ring or beautiful solid gold bracelet, quality jewelry is a great investment to make. It is estimated that this sector has seen a 140% rise in value over the last 10 years, which shows how buoyant it is. Naturally, the material the piece is made from is key, as is the quality of any gemstones contained within it. The designer can also play a big part in how much it will be worth when you come to sell. If you are not sure, then stick to the obvious pieces like 24CT gold or diamond rings, unless you can get an expert to help you out when shopping. 1. Fine wine. It may never have crossed your mind when enjoying a glass, but wine is a superb investment to make. It must be fine wine though, so none of the £3 a bottle jobs from the local shop. You must also remember that this is a long-term investment and won't see overnight profits. If you can buy the right wine and wait a bit though, it boasts a very high success rate as an asset. A 1982 Lafite Rothschild, for example, cost £300 a case when first released for sale. If you sold it now, you would get around £30,000. This sort of ROI is hard to match in any other sector in terms of investing your money. The key is that the finest wines are produced in small batches, so the supply is then limited when you come to sell. As long as you can hold off drinking it, it is a real winner. In the modern age, everyone is looking for new and easy ways to make some money. If you have some spare cash to start with, then investing in any of the above is wise. While many may take a few years to come good, when they do, it will all be worthwhile. After all, you would probably only spend the money on pizza or DVDs anyway.